It is my immense pleasure and my honor to welcome all of you here, all the dignitaries who have come far away, especially to make this event a very successful.
This very famous photograph taken during the Vietnam War of this kind of child running in the street, as well as this naked painting, a very famous painting by Goya. These would be considered banned on Facebook because they're nudity. However, one is a very historically famous photograph. And so it becomes very difficult to decide to have these kind of rules about what kind of content should be allowed on social media because, of course, there are always exceptions to the rule. And then as we move into Web 2.5, we're dealing with real-time moderation. So I don't know if any of you have watched a lot of live streams, but when you're doing live streams, the comments are appearing in real time. And what that means is that somebody needs to be there to actually monitor that content as it is happening. So this is a screenshot taken on Twitch, which is like one of the leading live streaming platforms in the world. And as you can see on the right side, there is this chat that is like, moving very fast and happening as the person is broadcasting. And then, in addition, we have voice, which is also very, very difficult to moderate. For example, if somebody writes something very bad in a text, you could potentially delete it. But if someone is saying something with their voice, how do you delete that? Also reveals a lot about the potential gender identity or age or location of where this person is at, which means that the person who is speaking also becomes more vulnerable to targeting on interest. Also, the work that I'm doing is looking at how AI and humans can work together in things like trying to solve problem. So here, people are using slurs for Black people, but instead of using the letters, they replace it with the emojis, and then the computer cannot detect it. Another example is using alternative spelling words that are okay. For example, using the word beach, which is fine when you're, however, in the context of a sentence, it's quite clear what humans are reading. So some things that we've been doing is in terms of like improving the algorithm itself. So for example, like the example that I just gave where you replace a letter with an emoji, and it's something that we can reverse engineering to try to detect additional people. So this kind of algorithm that we actually improves the detection of each by 5%, which doesn't seem like a lot, but when you're talking about millions of billions of checks, it is amazing. Another thing is to understand that when we're dealing with bad content online, a lot of the approaches that have been taken at these like very large companies, Facebook, Google, etc., is to get rid of bad content after it happens. But in our research, it's been quite clear that we need to actually put more effort into trying to prevent people from saying this to begin with, rather than focusing something on, cleaning up the bad things after it happens. And what we've been seeing is that, especially in smaller online communities, human moderators play a very large role in terms of setting the norm and helping people understand what is acceptable or not. And so one of the things that kind of analogies that I like to use is thinking of this as like a public space, so like a public park. If you go into a park and there's like trash everywhere, people might not think so much about just throwing away another thing. But if you go there and it's like very beautiful and pristine and people are like watching you and making sure that you know that it's not okay to litter, then it will be more likely to be clean. And I think that's a similar approach we need to take with these online communities. It's not wait until something goes really bad and try to clean it up. And so this is some of the other work that we've been doing that also tries to find better ways of visualizing data. And why this is important is that humans who are looking through all this bad content, they're just looking at it one by one. And that is an approach that that is not scalable because you have a lot of content and very few people. So we're trying to find more ways of detecting patterns. One example, for example, without even looking at it, is one of my colleagues has this collaboration with a local junior high school. And what they're doing is when they see sudden escalation of texts being sent between the students, they know that something is going on, because usually those kind of text patterns indicate like the spread of rumors. And so even if we don't know what the rumor actually is, looking at those data patterns can alert us to, okay, something is happening within the students, and then the teachers can figure out more about what is going on. Another thing is that we have all these people, especially underpaid workers in the global south, who are spending a lot of time looking at harmful content. And so some of the work that we've been doing is looking at like, how do they collaborate with each other? How can we do things to alleviate their mental stress? Because, if you're looking at bad content or bad pictures all day, like there's like a lot of stress and anxiety. So we've been doing a lot of kind of interventions to see like how we can help those people. So this is one kind of experiment that we did that was trying to reduce moderators' stress, where we every time they were reviewing like 20 bad texts, and then we gave them a very cute picture of a puppy, because there's some research that shows that looking at cute animals can actually make you feel better. And we found that for new trainees, this was actually very helpful. However, for people who have been doing this for a long time, it highly make a big difference. So the future of moderation, I think moderation is a topic that has only been exposed to the general public in the past couple of years. And so I think there's going to be more awareness about this in the next few years. But I think what we really need to do is to move from detection to prevention. All of the kind of focus, especially in the large tech companies, is really focusing on, how do we detect this bad thing? But I think, through education that happens like earlier on, especially like younger people, teaching people how to be good citizens of the internet, which is not something that is part of our current curriculum, at least in the US. I think that's kind of the way to go. And supporting kind of self-moderated communities. And so I think that, especially in the US, there's this conception that companies need to deal with everything. And so people tend to offset like personal, like harmful things, and instead of looking at the human behavior, they tend to focus on like, what is a technical solution, or what is the corporate solution? And I think that, yes, companies should be responsible, but I think we also need to create a more like a culture of like positive online behavior. Thank you.